we like better. Nigga, we having the best of us ever. If we go to court, go to court together.
On NBC6, the trial of a woman accused of plotting to kill her romantic rival in Tamarac is happening right now. 31-year-old Sakiyna Thompson is charged with the 2022 murder of Kayla Hodgson. Let me take you back. Broward Sheriff's investigators say that Thompson flew down from New York days before the murder with the intent of killing Hodgson. Detectives say the two women were dating the same men. Well, Hodgson was found stabbed to death in her village apartment home in Tamarac.
Someone knocked on Kayla Hodgson's door at 5 in the morning. She opened it. That single decision would be her last. The woman standing there had traveled over 1,000 miles with one purpose. She hadn't come to talk. She'd come to erase the person she believed had stolen her life. This is the story of what jealousy looks like when it metastasizes into something deadly. When a woman's obsession with a man she'd already lost consumed her so completely that she couldn't imagine a world where someone else got to be happy with him. 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson had no idea that someone was tracking her every move, not with technology, but with something far more dangerous. The kind of obsession that turns love into a weapon. Welcome to Caught in the Web True Crime Stories. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn the notification icon. July 2022 in Tamarac, Florida. The kind of summer heat that makes the air feel thick. Kayla Hodgson was 23 years old and living the life she'd built for herself in South Florida. Friends described her in ways that paint a picture of someone who made rooms brighter when she walked in. She worked as a bottle waitress, the kind of job where your personality matters as much as your hustle. Her friend and former boss remembered her with words that still carry weight. She was really sweet. She was the life of the party. She always had kind words. Think about that for a moment. How many people leave that kind of impression? How many of us are remembered not for what we achieved, but for how we made others feel? Her family would later describe her as an amazing daughter, a loved and adored big sister, someone whose bond with her family was unlike any other. She was a friend to all. These aren't just words people say after tragedy. They're who Kayla was. She lived in the Tamarac Village Apartments, a second-floor unit in a complex on Northwest 93rd Avenue, the kind of place where neighbors see each other coming and going, where life unfolds in the everyday rhythms of work and rest and the small moments that make up a life. What Kayla didn't know was that someone had been watching, studying, planning. 1,500 miles away in New York, a woman named Sakiyna Thompson was consumed by thoughts of Kayla. Thompson was 28 years old, and she was in a state of complete emotional freefall over a man. Not just any man, her ex-boyfriend. Here's what we know. Thompson had once been in a relationship with this man. That relationship had ended, and now he was seeing Kayla. For most people, that's painful. You grieve, you heal, you move forward. But Thompson couldn't let go. Prosecutors would later describe her as jealous and insecure, emotions that curdled into something far more dangerous. She wasn't just hurt, she was fixated, obsessed with the idea that this other woman, this stranger in Florida, had taken something that belonged to her. Have you ever watched someone spiral into jealousy? The way it narrows their vision until they can't see anything else? How it transforms a person into someone unrecognizable? Thompson didn't just want her ex-boyfriend back, she wanted Kayla gone. In the days before July 13th, 2022, Sakiyna Thompson made a series of calculated decisions. She was 2 months pregnant. She boarded a plane in New York and flew to South Florida, not to reconnect with her ex, not to start fresh somewhere warm. She came for one reason. Think about what that means. She packed a bag. She bought a plane ticket. She checked into a hotel in Broward County. Every step was a choice, an opportunity to turn back, to reconsider, to choose a different path. She didn't. Instead, Thompson took steps that prosecutors would later argue showed clear premeditation. She created a fake Uber account to hide her movements. She wore a hat and a COVID mask to disguise her identity. These weren't the actions of someone caught up in a moment of passion. These were the actions of someone who'd thought this through. Early on the morning of July 13th, while most people were still sleeping, Thompson made her way to Kayla's apartment complex. The sun hadn't risen yet. It was 5 in the morning, that quiet time when the world feels suspended between night and day. She knocked on Kayla's door. And Kayla opened it. Later, Thompson's defense attorneys would argue that Kayla invited her in, that she'd agreed to have a conversation, woman to woman, that what happened next was a tragic fight, not a planned murder. But here's what we need to understand. Kayla had no reason to fear this woman. She didn't know who Thompson was. She didn't know about the jealousy that had been building like pressure behind a dam. She didn't know she was opening her door to someone who traveled across the country specifically to confront her. What Kayla did know was that someone was at her door early in the morning, asking to talk. Maybe she was confused. Maybe she felt obligated to be polite. Maybe she sensed something was off but didn't want to seem rude. How many times do we, especially as women, ignore our instincts because we've been taught to be accommodating, to be nice even when something doesn't feel right? Kayla let her in. What happened in that apartment would become the central question of a murder trial. According to Sakiyna Thompson's own testimony years later, she'd come to have a woman-to-woman conversation with Kayla. About what exactly? About the man they'd both been involved with. About the relationship that Thompson couldn't accept was over. Can you imagine that conversation? The tension in that room? One woman desperate to understand, the other woman who probably just wanted this stranger to leave. Thompson claimed that Kayla attacked her first, that Kayla struck her over the head and slashed her stomach with a piece of glass from a hookah. Thompson, who was pregnant, said she feared for her unborn child's life. She said she grabbed the glass and fought back. She testified that she blacked out and couldn't remember what happened next. When she came to, Kayla Hodgson was dead. But here's what the evidence told prosecutors. Kayla had been stabbed dozens of times, not once in a moment of panic, not twice in self-defense, dozens of times.
Punching me.
Punching you where?
My face.
Where on your face? Point to it for us.
I don't remember, but everywhere on
You
my
don't
face.
remember where she was punching you in your face?
In my face.
I mean, this is why you killed her, right?
No.
Right?
No.
It's not?
No.
You didn't kill her because she was fighting you?
No, I killed her because she took the glass from the hookah and slashed me across my stomach. I wasn't really walking over the blood, I was walking in the blood.
You walked in the blood?
Yes.
With what shoes?
The BB shoes. I changed my shoes. A little, I guess you could say, jealous and like insecure. She just starts grabbing my hair and punching me, and I'm on the floor. I'm kicking. I'm trying to get up to fight back at this point because now it's a fight.
Thompson was 2 months pregnant at the time. She told the jury she had no choice but to grab something sharp and defend herself. Thompson testified that when she thought Hodgson was dead, she tried to clean up parts of the crime scene with Lysol wipes and paper towels.
The kind of attack that speaks to rage, to a complete loss of control, to an intent to destroy. The medical examiner's findings would show the brutal reality of those wounds. This wasn't a mutual fight that went too far. This was a sustained, vicious attack. And what Thompson did afterward tells its own story. She didn't call 911. She didn't try to help. She didn't check if Kayla was still alive. Instead, Thompson changed out of her bloody clothes and put on Kayla's. Think about that. She stood in a dead woman's apartment, surrounded by blood, and methodically went through her victim's belongings to find something clean to wear. She later described it herself. I was walking in the blood. She tried to clean up the scene, removing evidence, wiping surfaces. Then she fled, not to the police station, not to a hospital to seek help for her injuries. She went back to her hotel, and then she flew back to New York. For 3 weeks, Kayla Hodgson lay dead in her apartment, while Sakiyna Thompson went about her life as if nothing had happened. The 911 call came in the afternoon of July 13th. Someone had found Kayla unresponsive in her second-floor apartment. When paramedics arrived, there was nothing they could do. Kayla Hodgson, 23 years old, was gone. The Broward County Sheriff's Office launched a homicide investigation. Neighbors in the Tamarac Village apartments were terrified. One resident, Sheila Hernandez, lived directly above Kayla's unit. She told reporters, "We were scared. We heard a lot of different stories about different people." Another neighbor, Frederick Thomas, spoke the day after the murder was discovered. His words were simple and heartbreaking. "We need some justice. The murderer needs to be caught. It's as simple as that. It's a life cut short." Kayla's friends were devastated. Her former employer spoke through tears about the young woman she'd known. Kayla's family set up a fundraiser, trying to manage funeral expenses while grappling with a loss that made no sense. In their description, you can feel the weight of what they'd lost. Kayla meant so much to so many people. Everyone loved her tremendously, and she was a friend to all. Meanwhile, investigators were building their case. They identified Sakiyna Thompson as a suspect. On July 25th, 12 days after the murder, a warrant was issued for her arrest. On August 3rd, 2022, New York City police officers arrested Thompson in Springfield Gardens, Queens. She was charged with first-degree murder and held at the Rose M. Singer Center on Rikers Island before being extradited back to Florida. Back in Tamarac, neighbors finally breathed a little easier. Sheila Hernandez spoke for many when she said, "I am very happy to hear about it because we were scared. Making an arrest makes me feel a lot more comfortable." But for Kayla's family, the arrest was just the beginning of a long, painful journey toward justice. It took more than 2 years for Sakiyna Thompson's case to go to trial. By then, she was 31 years old. In October 2024, she stood before a jury in Fort Lauderdale to answer for what happened in that apartment. Thompson didn't deny killing Kayla Hodgson. She couldn't. The evidence was overwhelming. Instead, her defense centered on one claim: self-defense. Her attorneys painted a picture of a woman who'd been attacked, who'd fought for her life and the life of her unborn child, who'd lost control in a moment of terror. They emphasized that there was no evidence Thompson had brought a weapon to the apartment. They argued that Kayla had let her in, that whatever happened was a fight that escalated tragically. But prosecutors told a different story. They walked the jury through Thompson's actions before, during, and after the murder. The flight from New York, the fake Uber account, the disguise, the early morning arrival, the dozens of stab wounds, the changing of clothes, the cleanup attempt, the flight back to New York without ever calling for help. Assistant State Prosecutor Tanya Johnson made it clear: being attacked and brutally murdered in your own home. That's terrifying. Kayla did not deserve to die the way she did. Thompson took the stand in her own defense, a risky move that many defendants avoid. She described her version of events, insisting that she'd only wanted to talk, that Kayla had attacked her, that everything that followed was self-defense. But when prosecutors questioned her directly, the holes in her story became apparent. Thompson admitted she changed into Kayla's clothes. She admitted she'd tried to clean the scene. She admitted she'd left without calling for help. She admitted she'd walked through Kayla's blood to do all of this. The jury deliberated after hearing 4 hours of closing arguments. They had to decide, was this self-defense or was this premeditated murder? On a Tuesday in October 2024, they delivered their verdict.
State of Florida versus Sakiyna Thompson.
A burden lifted.
We, the jury, find as follows as the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom erupted. Kayla's family members embraced each other, crying tears of relief and grief mingled together. One family member spoke for them all.
We're so thankful in this moment that the jury was able to see the story for what it is, that Kayla did not deserve to die the way that she did. We finally have some justice for Kayla.
We're just so thankful in this moment that the jury was able to see the story for what it is. Kayla did not deserve to die the way that she did. Sakiyna Thompson now faces life in prison. What makes someone travel 1,500 miles to kill a stranger? What kind of jealousy is so powerful that it overrides every other human instinct? Kayla Hodgson was living her life, working her job, being kind to people, making rooms brighter just by being in them. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't steal anyone's boyfriend. She was simply existing, dating someone who was available, building her own happiness. And for that, someone decided she didn't deserve to live. This case isn't just about one murder. It's about the dangerous belief that we have ownership over other people. That when someone doesn't choose us, when they find happiness elsewhere, that's somehow a betrayal worthy of violence. Jealousy is human. We all feel it. But there's a vast distance between feeling jealous and acting on it, between being hurt and deciding someone else should die because of that hurt. Kayla's family will never get her back. Her friends will never hear her laugh again. All those rooms she made brighter are darker now, And Sakiyna Thompson will spend the rest of her life behind bars, haunted by choices she made on a hot July morning when she decided that if she couldn't have happiness, no one else would either. Remember Kayla Hodgson. Remember that she mattered, that she was loved, that she deserved every day she never got to live. And if this story makes you think twice about the warning signs of obsession in yourself or someone you know, if it makes you listen to that voice that says something isn't right, if it makes you understand that letting go is hard, but violence is never the answer, then maybe in some small way, her death won't have been completely in vain. Thank you for watching Caught in the Web Crime Stories. If these stories matter to you, please like and subscribe. And if you or someone you know is struggling with obsessive thoughts or unhealthy attachment, please reach out for help. There are resources available. There are always other choices. Until next time, stay safe, trust your instincts, and remember that every life has value.